Welcome to Global Risk Community Chat. Today our guest is Fene Osakwe. So I'm very happy to have you here today again, Fene. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's been a while. It's
Yeah,
been a while.
yeah, indeed. So of course, I believe our previous discussion was like a year or two ago. So for those that may have missed it, can you briefly introduce yourself again to our audience?
Fantastic. So Dr. Fene Osakwe here. I have been I'm a multi-award winning cybersecurity professional. Grateful to have, led technology cybersecurity in the New York Stock Exchange company. I've had the experience of working in Dubai, the US, the UK, Africa, Latin America. And also, I'm on Forbes Council. I am also a board member on EC Council, and also the first cybersecurity chairman for Lagos State in Nigeria for the Advisory Council to the governor. Uh, and an Amazon best-selling author. So yeah, pretty much a lot of things. But I think it just gives me the bandwidth to be able to, and gives me the breadth to sort of be able to speak about cybersecurity on a very global scale.
Yeah, sounds really well challenging but fun at the same time. Very broad for sure. So thank you for that short introduction. So this is actually also our first interview of the year of 2025 in
Yo,
Global
nice.
Community Chat. So we are starting very strong to it with you. And well, I believe today we are talking about top cyber risks to manage in 2025, right at the
Mhm,
start of it. So,
mhm,
well,
mhm,
yeah, let's get into
mhm.
it. So, what are some, key things you want to share about this? Some top things.
Yeah, so I mean, I could talk about this for 4 days, to be honest. And I did that. I did an article on Forbes. I'm also on Forbes Council, so I put an article out on Forbes, and I do this every year where I just talk about in my mind, what the top risk for the year will be. So there's a very detailed one on that, but we don't have that time. So I will talk about a few things, and we have to start with artificial intelligence, don't we? Because this just seems to be the only conversation being had these days. And I think from an AI perspective, one of the risks I think that organizations will need to deal with is what I call shadow AI. And shadow AI simply means, look, previously, in order for you to get a software on your system, you needed IT to install it on your system. So they took away admin rights from people. Now on your mobile phone, even your operating system comes with AI now. Okay, so what are you going to do? Are you going to stop people from bringing their phones? Now, people have AI on their system. You could go to the cloud from your phone, just any cloud provider, and be able to leverage generative AI to write company emails, put information. It's just a bit scary, the fact that there is now this huge ability to have shadow AI that is not approved by the organization. And so it just opens you up primarily to data loss. And data loss then opens you up to privacy risk. Privacy risk then opens you up to fines. So that line for me, I think, is one that organizations and individuals need to be very careful about. Um, Third party risk is one that has to be mentioned because we call it one to many now. Previously, if you needed to, I don't know, to be able to do harm to an organization, you try to get into the organization. So if Bank A, for example, if I want to be able to steal money from Bank A, I need to be able to get into the organization. But now, Bank A, B, C, D all use the same software provider. So if I get to that software provider, then rather than just have an impact on bank A rather. Now I could have an impact on bank A, B, C, D. So the scale is a lot. So what are you doing with your third parties? What policies do you have to manage them? What clauses do you have in those contracts? What addendums have you included? Have you ensured that to some extent you have some clauses in those places that indemnify you? Because, that's kind of where we're going to. The other things I think we should flag, of course, deep fakes are not going to go away. Last year, a company lost what, $25 million because a phone call came from someone who was supposed to be the CFO, and it wasn't. And someone acted on that instruction. But here's what I'm concerned about deepfake going into the future, 2025 and beyond. What I think we might end up with, because now we're just talking about deepfake in terms of, oh, someone gave an instruction. Is it correct? Is this the right person? During the last election in the US, there was a deepfake where someone seemed to have been one of the contestants making a statement that he actually didn't make. So there's all of that confusion. But going forward, there's also the concern about how this begins to impact in the law court. So if we both have an argument, HA, and we go to the law court and say, you say, oh, Dr. Fene sent this video and was threatening me in this video, my counsel can actually begin to argue against it and say, no, that was a deep fake. And what are you going to do? How are you going to prove it? And then now we just have this confusion. How do you prove it was not, even if it was? Or how do you prove it was? So that's something, and there's really no solution to this for now, from what I see. And I think the last one I would talk about, because of time, is again tied to AI, is malware generation with Gen AI. So a lot of people just think that Gen AI is just able to help you summarize your emails, write better emails, create social media posts, all these kind of lovely things we do. But what we are beginning to find out now is that it also is able to help you create exploits. So if you are able for some AI to properly give good description of a vulnerability, some of the AI tools are having about 85 to 87% accuracy now in being able to write an exploit that then exploits that vulnerability. So you do not even need to have cybersecurity or coding experience now. You just tell the AI, hey, this is the vulnerability. Could you write me an exploit? And then it's able to write with 87% accuracy. That is scary.
Indeed. Yeah, I was thinking that, of course, you were going to mention AI heavily because, I mean, I think at the times when we were having our first discussion with you, AI was already starting to become a thing, but not to this
Yeah, just a
extent.
bit.
And
Yeah,
since last year, we saw that it's really like
it's blown
improved
up.
so much. It's blown up like to the points like back then, deep fakes were kind of, I guess, like you could kind of see it, or
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would need
yeah.
to really, really advance programs to be able to do these, which of course costed a
Absolutely.
lot. And now it's in everybody's pockets or screen essentially to be able to do such, high level things or high
100%.
advanced things.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's I guess indeed a very big concern for cyber risk in general. So, and
it
I
is.
know with
It is.
some things there are not much solutions to maybe, like recommend because it's very unforeseeable, but what could be some takeaway points or things to be maybe mindful of for
Mhm,
our viewers to, like pay
mhm,
attention, especially so they can to at least some scale mitigate most of this.
mhm, mhm. All right, so let's start with third party, which I spoke about. So third party has to be managed from a process and I think technology and even a policy perspective, right? So you need to have very clear third party policies that state what is expected of your third party. There also need to be very clear security standards that have been defined that say if you do not meet this level of security standards, encryption, multi-factor, XYZ, you cannot work with us. Then there also needs to be the part where you put clauses, okay, from a privacy perspective. Now there are standard contractual clauses. There are, data privacy addendums that need to be included in contracts in order to be compliant with privacy regulations. But more importantly, clauses that protect you and indemnify you if there's a breach, like who takes responsibility when there's a breach, when there's downtime, all this type of thing. So all of that needs to be very clearly managed. And how do you manage access of third parties to your environment? So building a proper access management process for third parties, I think, is important. When it comes to deep fakes, again, there's no clear-cut solution to this one. But here's what I would say. Um, the fact that you get a phone call from your boss and says you should transfer $25 million, what that says is that was the only mode of authentication that had been defined. That if a phone call comes, however, if it was multi, that, oh, we do not approve such amounts by phone calls in this company. If there's a phone call, there has to be a corresponding email and an approval gotten on that email too. So it's difficult. Okay, you do the deepfake with the email. How do you, with the phone call? How do you then do it with the email? How do you then, with the verification? So this was the whole point of why multi-factor came in the first place, that people's passwords were being stolen. Now you steal the password. Well, now you also need to go steal my token, or you need to steal my authenticator. So it's just trying to create a bit more layers. I think that that's important. In terms of shadow AI, this one has to really be governed a lot by awareness and policy. Almost the way some years ago, there was the concept of BYOD, bring your own device. And a lot of organizations put, policies and processes in place to be able to make sure that when you bring your own device, this was when mobile technology and cloud were just, really being driven and people just had their emails on their phone. When you bring your own device, these are the minimum requirements for you to be able to use our network on your mobile phone. It's a segmented network, guest network, all these type of things. I think that those things have to come into place with AI. I think that if organizations are not able to provide in-house Gen AI abilities such that, you know what, you do not need to use what you have on your phone. We have a system where you just go on the system, and if you need to use Gen AI, it's already here for you. But it's in a secure environment. We have secured it rather than you just creating your own shadow AI. I think that that helps. But holistically, the cybersecurity strategies now, I think, need to be updated from just security strategies to cyber resilient strategies, because it's almost so easy now to be able to suffer a cyber breach. You need to be resilient enough to bounce back.
Yeah. Thank you so much for those recommendations as well. And with that, that was actually all of my questions. So is there anything else you would like to add?
Absolutely nothing. I wish you, like I said in my article, I wish you a cyber safe, a cyber secure 2025. And for some of these predictions, hopefully we come again in 2026, and then we ask ourselves, hey, which of these actually came to pass, and how do we get better in 2026?
Yes. Thank you then, Fene, for once again being our guest. It was, as always, very insightful, and I hope that it will also be quite useful to our audience, looking ahead in 2025 and onwards, of course. So yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.